Since the announcement of Battlefield 6 and its subsequent betas have ended, there's been a huge resurgence in the player counts of previous Battlefield games, with the greatest increase in player count coming from 2042, with numbers increasing from around 4,000 players the day after the final beta to around 21,000 players average and a peak of 72,000 players at the time of recording. Furthermore, the influx of new content, including a remake of Battlefield 5's Iwo Jima and new weapons, as well as a free battle pass allowing players to gain cosmetic items for Battlefield 6, along with an increase in content for Battlefield 2042 on YouTube and other platforms, it seems the tide has finally turned with opinions on Battlefield 2042, and that many consider it to now be a good game. Now, while I certainly don't think the majority of players now look at this game fondly, and that the increase in player counts can be seen as a sense of nostalgia for the betas and excitement for Battlefield 6, as well as most players trying to unlock that cosmetic content for Battlefield 6, it is worth noting that Battlefield 2042 has had an extremely rocky life cycle. From a terrible launch 4 years ago to a lack of support to poor additional content to one of the worst specialist or hero systems ever seen in a modern FPS game, a lot of long-time players abandoned Battlefield 2042, myself included. I only purchased the game when I was extremely bored and it was on offer. Other than that, I had very little interest in actually playing it. Skip ahead to around 4 years later and there is still a myriad of issues with Battlefield 2042, but it has become something of an enjoyable and entertaining experience. The biggest fix of all was returning to the class system. At launch, any operator or any specialist could use any gadget and any weapon. Now, the weapons are still completely open to all classes, however, gadgets are now locked into certain classes that have been created. Taking this away from a Battlefield game was a massive mistake. It's a huge part of what makes Battlefield is having those classes in the game. Along with that, there were other changes and other ideas that didn't work out, gameplay mechanics that weren't quite seen as Battlefield-like, and maps that were too big with too little cover and too vehicle focused, as well as the addition of player servers with 120 players, which sounds like a great idea but just didn't work out in practice. Now, this is something of a repeating cycle with Battlefield games, as the last few Battlefield games have looked at more favourably than they were during their life cycle. Battlefield 1 and 5 especially are looked at incredibly fondly. Even Hardline has some fans retrospectively praising it. Now, of course, Battlefield 3 and 4 have always been looked at as some of the best modern FPS games for a good reason. Battlefield 4 especially had an incredibly rocky launch, but it is looked at as one of the best modern FPS games. So while 2042 was a low point for the series, I do wonder how it will be looked on in a few years' time and after Battlefield 6 launches. Regardless of all of that, Battlefield 6 looks incredible, I cannot wait to play it, and October 10th can't come soon enough. Now, what do you think of Battlefield 2042? Are you a long-time player, are you a new player, or are you just excited for Battlefield 6? If you have enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe and a comment. I do hope to create some more content, especially after Battlefield 6 launches, so any support with that would be fantastic. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.